Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Boku no Game video. Today's video is dedicated to a beginner FAQ. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe once we hit 7,500 subs. If this is your first time checking out my video, welcome aboard, and let's jump right into things. Skills. Now, we're looking at the character Makoto, and you guys are probably wondering, why is she so good, and why does everyone recommend to reroll for Makoto specifically? Alright, one of the first reasons why is because her first skill and her first ability provides the ability to lower enemy physical defense, and so is her rank 4 or her skill 3. The reason why that is so important is because there are going to be a lot of bosses in the game that are physical oriented, and pretty much Makoto can lower them. Next thing is going to be in clan battle. Now in clan battle, there's going to be a lot of bosses in here, and you can actually set your Makoto within clan battle. We don't have it yet available, but what happens is Makoto can help you deal double damage within clan battle with her physical defense lowering abilities. Being able to double your damage in clan battle is absolutely invaluable when you can get thousands of gems within clan battle, and that is why she is invaluable. And not to mention, if you go to Makoto and you go to Ascension and you go to how to obtain, these are pretty much how you farm her shards. Note that you can only get her shards from the clan shop, so she is extremely difficult to acquire. So that is why you want to reroll for her. It would take you technically 6 months to acquire one Makoto if you did not reroll for her and you only tried to get her from the clan battle shop, alright? So you really don't want to experience that. Next thing is going to be, what is a good team comp? So generally a good team comp is 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and 1 support / healer. I'm gonna go ahead and give you the free-to-play team that someone has actually beat the game with. Credits to Sky, I'll leave the links down in the description, but essentially he beat the entire storyline with these 5 characters in particular: Peko, Kokkoro, Carol, and Yui. You get all 4 of these for free at the start of the game, and Yukari is a 1-star that is super easy to get. So with these 5 in particular, you can actually beat story mode and push content, alright? Carol is actually pretty good, and so is Yui. Just note that Yui won't really shine, her heals won't be good until around rank 7, so don't rely on her heals too much. Probably rely more on Yukari, and we'll talk about other things on how to make them more valuable as we move through the video. Some of you guys are also wondering, are 1-star characters good? Note that 1-star characters are absolutely phenomenal. Note also that they do not get good like until around 2-star or 3-star. Some won't even get good until, 6-star, whenever that decides to come out, alright? So for the most part, 1-star characters, everyone can be raised from 1-star to 5-star. Generally, once everyone hits 5-star, everyone has the same amount of stats. It's just that it's essentially going to be a while before these 1-star characters start becoming good. Just keep farming their shards, alright? Some of you are also wondering, why can't I decide who goes in front? So the reason why you can't decide who goes in front within your parties is essentially that there is known as a position value. So for example, if I take out Yukari and you notice that Pecorine is right here, you can actually have some characters who are technically DPS, which is Kaori, who will go in front of Peko even though Peko is a tank. If I take out Kokkoro and I don't want Kaori to be in front, someone like Lima can be more in front of Kaori because she has a higher positional value, alright? Note that some of the characters work this way, and you'll see these little directional arrows. So pretty much what happens is these directional arrows will tell you whether it's a front character, middle, or back character. It doesn't really matter like how many characters that you have. Like if you want to have a team of just like front characters, what really matters is that you have at least 1 tank bare minimum and 1 healer, and then whatever else. But honestly, you can probably beat the entire game with this team right here, so you don't have to really mess with the formula too much. Just be aware that those positions do exist, and that's why you cannot choose where a character essentially sits on the party, alright? Next thing is going to be, why are some of my characters' EXP stuck at 1 instead of leveling? Note that your character level or your player level is matched to your character level. So for example, I am level 58 or my player level is 58, therefore my characters will be stuck. Next thing is going to be, why are some of my character bonds rank locked at 4-star? So what that means is pretty much if you go in the character right here within the story and you go all, Note that my Pecorine is pretty much locked at rank 4, bond level, and these bond levels are super important because they provide stat bonuses. So for example, you get 300 HP by hitting bond rank 4, and pretty much why I'm stuck at bond rank 4 for pretty much Pecorine is because she is a 2-star character only. Note that Makoto is a 3-star character, and she can pretty much have her character story go all the way up to 8. So what happens is once you get 3 stars, you can get to higher bond levels, you get more extra story. So, obviously that gives you incentive to raise rarity for characters who like Pecorine, who might be your waifu. Just note that it's not worth it to, ascend them with your divine amulets. We'll talk about what divine amulets are later. Alright, some of you are probably wondering, do I lose stamina when I lose or leave a stage? Note that you only lose 1 stamina if you lose a normal stage. If you lose a hard stage, you only lose 2 stamina. So, what does that tell you? Don't be afraid to fail, because losing stamina 1 or 2sies is not a big deal. Now, if you're banging your head against a stage 5 times in a row and, there is no progression that looks like you can even get past wave 2, I highly advise going back and just farming gear, alright? And this leads to the next question. What do? I can't get past stages. So, pretty much what you do is certain characters will be better for certain stages. Like, for example, building magic characters like Carol will be important, building magic characters like Yui will be very important, and just note that heals are highly dependent on magical attack, which is kind of weird. It's not really explained like why your heals don't do well. Later on, you will actually unlock this magic attack ability that will give Yui higher heals, and that's why, healers are generally better in the later game, alright? They don't do that well in the very beginning. And just don't forget to upgrade your characters. Make sure if you're in like chapter 5, all of your characters are at least rank 4 at bare minimum, and you'll do just fine. Just don't try to push like chapter 8 and all of your characters are still at like rank 6, alright? You're probably not going to be able to push like chapter 8 if you don't even have at least like 2 or 3 characters at rank 7, just to know, okay? Next thing is going to be, what should I do with my jewels? Should I roll, buy stamina, or use it on mana? So the general consensus is you only use your jewels on 3 stamina refreshes per day, alright? You should definitely save your jewels for a pre-fest or a limited banner or some sort of character, that is going to be like June or a tank. But for now, there's not really any characters to roll for unless you are, doing something else in the game that we'll be talking about. Note that mana is never worth it. Mana is a trap. This 10 gems for mana is an absolute trap. You do not do it. Now the thing is this is only for whales or people who plan to spend hundreds of dollars in the game, alright? This is not for free to play. This isn't for people who are pushing content unless you plan on spending quite a bit of money, because essentially the amount of jewels you spend does not equate to the amount of stamina that you could use to acquire that mana, alright? Next thing is going to be, what should I rank up, or should I upgrade my gear? Upgrade or refine. So generally, you should refine your gear as much as possible. By that, or not refine, you should rank up your gear as much as possible. The reason why you don't want to refine is essentially refines are temporary stats. Ideally, don't refine until you hit rank 4 so you can get your 3rd ability, and pretty much refines are just, temporary stats. If you refine something, like for example, I refined all this gear, the only reason why I did it is because rank 8 is nowhere near in sight, and pretty much these temporary stats will help me push progression, within the stages that I'm currently at. Now, it's not recommended to refine gear at like rank 2 or 3 because it will be an absolute waste of your mana, and mana is a very precious resource. Because for example, if I were to hit optimize right here, I would have to spend 357,000 mana just to get this character like within a usable state. She only has 1 skill unlocked, so you can already see mana is insanely invaluable. Don't just spend it willy-nilly, especially in the early game, alright? Next thing is going to be, I heard that you can get everybody to max rarity. How do I do that? So, a couple of characters can go to max rarity. Essentially, the only way to get them to max rarity is if you go into Ascension and then you farm hard stages, or you buy them within like the shop. No, don't use any of your divine amulets on like the shop. none of them are worth it currently. All right, just note that the best way is essentially, so for example, if you want Makoto, you would have to go in the clan shop to obtain her. This is why it's highly recommended to reroll for her, and we already pretty much covered it. All right, some characters can also be acquired via, Princess Arena and other stuff like that. But for the most part, I'll leave a detailed description on pretty much what shards that you should farm for. Next thing is going to be, what are the purple stones? So you sort of caught a glimpse at the purple stones already after you do a summon, right? So if you do a gacha summon, you get these divine amulets or purple stones. So what are those? If you go into the shop and then you go into the divine amulets, these are the purple stones. Do not spend any of them. Do not do it. Save them for limited characters. Essentially what happens is if you buy 20 of them, they pretty much double in divine amulet in price. So you don't want to use your memory shards or your divine amulets to buy memories. Essentially, it just keeps doubling and doubling and doubling every 20 times or every 20 shards you purchase. So eventually it just doesn't become worth it to expend your shards to pretty much progress within the game. All right, it's really not worth it. Some of you are probably wondering, how do you efficiently use divine amulets? Already talked about it. Pretty much, if you want to use your divine amulets properly, just save it for limited characters because you cannot farm for limited character shards. Next thing is going to be what's important about the guild house. So the reason why the guild house is so important is because this will be your base of operations to essentially acquire passive income such as stamina. You can get mana from here, right? Note that, for example, if I store this is actually one of the most important items in the game because this is a dungeon drop. This is a item that you get after beating a dungeon, and if I place it, essentially I will get stamina from it every 6 hours. So you can get up to 48 stamina per day on this thing, and it's absolutely invaluable. And the reason why the guild house is so important is because stamina and mana right here that you saw earlier is invaluable. All right, you can get up to 54,000 after 24 hours, okay? And just don't forget to unpack your, hard dungeon or your dungeon statues, because that is going to be really important. You don't want it to sit there after you beat a dungeon. And note that you can also level up the furniture that you were given at the start of the game. Note that decorating your house doesn't do anything other than make your waifus happy. But, that is the most important thing in any gacha game, is making your waifus happy. The thing is going to be, which dungeon difficulty should I farm? So the thing is with dungeon difficulty is that you should always push for the hardest stages if you can't beat the boss that you're currently at. Now some of you are probably wondering, what do I do if the dungeon boss is too hard? So let's go to start. I can't beat this dungeon boss. I can't beat it because I don't have enough healers in particular, but pretty much you go into support, and this is one of the reasons why you join a clan, and you can borrow someone else's character. So for example, my Pekko is dying, so I should use, Egu's Nozomi. But the thing is I'm probably not going to beat this boss, so I'm probably going to hit return. That way I can, pretty much expend or reset my dungeon retries, because you only get 1 attempt per day. And just note that returning doesn't do anything. I already know I'm going to lose to this dude, so I'm not even going to try. So we're going to hit return, we're going to hit OK, and pretty much what happens the very next day, I can re-challenge this thing and move forward. Okay, next thing is going to be, what is the item I get for beating dungeon bosses? You guys already saw it, what happens when you beat a dungeon boss, or what items that you get. Essentially this stamina statue. Make sure to, put it out. I already talked about how you have to go in your menu and you have to go in your storage and pretty much take it out. Another thing is going to be providing gifts to characters. Note that, if you provide a gift to a character who has a, bond level that can increase, you can essentially get more stats. And we already talked about how essentially 3-star characters like Makoto can get their bond level to 8. So that is super cool. Next thing is going to be, is there a friend system within the game? So some of you are probably wondering, you have a profile right here, you can copy the player ID. The only thing useful with the player ID for is to essentially get invites from the clans, so you can search people up, invite them to your guild, whatever you need to do to make your clan a much better place. So that way you can be, in much better places once Clan Battle actually releases, since it's going to be a huge resource for acquiring jewels. Next thing is going to be, what do you essentially do in Clan outside of this donating resources? Well, if you didn't know, if you go into member info, you can actually like folks, and this will grant you 10 stamina. The next thing is going to be you can essentially have people help you out within the actual dungeons and stuff. We already talked about how you can set supporting settings, so you can help people in dungeon, you can help people in clan battle. It's just a social aspect that you can do within the game that will help you progress in the game, right? It's just fun to have like a little clan to converse with people. Sometimes they send a sticker and you just say, hey, it's just, why not? Next thing is going to be, I keep losing in PvP, what do I do? So just note that PvP has an entirely different meta. Right now the meta is to use magical units. The reason why I use magical units is because generally everyone's building physical tanks and physical units. So you build magical to oppose the current meta within story so that essentially you can progress further in arena. Just note that there are tier lists in Discord. I'll have tier links down below in the description. We'll go from there, but for the most part, don't focus too much on arena. Just note that you should do arena. Try to get to at least around, I would say, like the top 5,000. I think that's doable to get everyone to get like around top 5,000. Don't be like me and try to push like the top like 500. It's really hard up here. All right, next thing, and probably the last thing, is going to be, what is Princess Arena? Now, Princess Arena is essentially a 3v3. Now, what I'm doing specifically, you can see right here, is I'm only building 2 teams, and pretty much I focus anyone who has like a team that I can, I guess, sort of beat, right? Now, the thing is this is actually preparation is what to come in the future, because in clan battle, you will actually have to raise 3 teams. So you can sort of set up your PvP or your Princess Arena teams to, quote unquote work in clan battle. Just note that Princess Arena units are entirely like a different meta from clan battle, because some clan battle bosses are AoE, some are not, and AoE is the king in arena, but then you use AoE within like actual clan battles, right? So there's like a sort of win-win by building all these units, right? Right now I'm currently working on my party 2, and eventually I'll start working on my party 3, but it's just one of the things that you pretty much do once you've pretty much completed most of the game, is more PvP and try to flesh out your roster, because pretty much what's happening to me since I've pretty much completed most of soft launch stuff is I have maxed out characters. I can't do anything else until unique equipment comes out, which is pretty much these guys, and eventually I can progress further by raising other units, by tackling harder stuff in main quests, tackling harder stuff in Princess Arena Dungeon, Grotto, so on and so forth. Anyways, those are all the beginner questions. If you have any more questions, feel free to drop them down below. If you're stuck, make sure to rank up your characters as soon as possible. Make sure to work on bond levels, and don't pull, just don't do it. All right, make sure to do stamina refreshes up to 3 times and at maximum 6 times. If you really want to push content, then you can stamina refresh a little bit more. Just note that it won't make a huge difference. Just do 3 refreshes a day so you can get maximum value for your 120 jewels. But anyways, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the beginner FAQ. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Once we hit 7,500 subs, we'll be doing a giveaway. Anyways, I will be seeing you in the next one.